Welcome to the SVN tutorial. Today we'll be showing you how to manage your project under Subversion. The first thing we're going to do is create a new folder, and we're going to call it SVN, and this is the folder that we will use to source control our files. So go under here. You should have already installed Tortoise SVN as per the tutorial document, and you should have your username and password. We're going to check out the files to tell Tortoise that we're going to manage our Subversion repository here. Go ahead and use this URL, except change the username to correspond to your username. It's going to prompt you for your credentials. Go ahead and enter them there. Save your authentication. Now, the Subversion repository is empty right now, but what that allows you to do is you get this .svn folder if you have show hidden files on, and now you know that this is under Subversion control. If you have not already created files for your project, just go ahead and put your Java project here. Just create your new files right in this folder. If you already have files, go ahead and copy them into the SVN folder. Now we have our project files under the SVN folder, but they are not yet in Subversion. The first thing we need to do is tell Subversion to add these files. So right-click, Tortoise SVN, Add. Now these are all the files that are currently in that project. We say OK. And now all those files are added to Subversion. They're actually marked to be added. To actually add them in, we need to do a commit. So now we'll do an SVN commit. And now this is telling us that all these files are going to be added into the repository. We put a message here describing our action on the source code files. You should always commit for every check-in. It helps track your changes in case you need to do a rollback or something like that. So just to show you this window a little bit better, there you go. Say OK. And now all those files are being added and committed into the repository. Now if we go ahead and refresh this window, you'll see this little green check mark, which means your repository is up to date and those files are under Subversion control. So now we're going to go ahead and make a change to our project. We'll go inside here, and let's go inside the source folder. And let's go ahead and change one of these guys. Alright, we'll just make a trivial change. Go ahead and save that change and close our editor. Now you'll notice the icon on that file changes to an exclamation point. And if we go back in the folder structure, you'll notice that the entire project has an exclamation mark, meaning that there are changes in the local copy versus the Subversion controlled files. So what we need to do is go ahead and update first. You always want to update before you commit, because if someone else, one of your other team members, made changes to the code base, you want to get those changes in first before you commit your changes over to it. So we'll go ahead and say SVN update. This says we're at revision 74, but if another team member had made changes to the code base, you would see the files that were made, that changes were made to, and they would be brought in and merged into your local copy. Now after we've updated, we go ahead and commit using SVN commit. We make a comment here, made some changes to the comments. And then we go ahead and say OK. And Tortoise SVN modified that file, sent it over, and now we're at revision 75. Now that is essentially how you manage Subversion repositories. You add your files in, you commit them, then you go ahead and make changes on them, and then you update, and then you commit your changes. So every day when you get on to make changes, you should do an update first, then make your changes, then commit them back. And that concludes our Subversion tutorial.